NBC Sports presents Game 1 of the 1970 World Series. The American League champions, the Baltimore Orioles, versus the National League champions, the Cincinnati Reds. The new Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, which was opened here in July. A crisp, sunny, perfect day for baseball in the opening game of the World Series. The high temperature today will be 65 degrees, and the weatherman says no chance of rain. Hi, everybody. I'm Kurt Gowdy of NBC. This is Jim McIntyre of the Cincinnati Reds, and roaming down on the field will be my regular season partner, Tony Perez. And you know, the odds makers and experts have called this World Series dead even, and why not? Each team breezed through the regular season, winning over 100 games. Each team then went through and won the playoffs 3 in a row. Each team has some of baseball's biggest stars in its lineup. Each team has balance, power, hitting for average, pitching, fielding, and also good bench strength. These are two powerful teams. And if you could be named a manager for next year, or even this year, maybe for the World Series, the lineups of each team would be the kind of a lineup you'd like to manage if you had the shot. Let's take a look at the starting pitchers for today's World Series opener. And the two pitchers are almost parallel. On my left and on your left is Jim Palmer, 24 years old, who in 67 and 68 had bad arm and back problems. In fact, his entire future was in jeopardy, but he's come back to become a 20-game winner this year. And on your right is Gary Nolan, an 18-game winner, and he too had arm problems in which his future was in doubt, but he's bounced back to win 18 games this year for Cincinnati. Two young right-handers who've made it back and made it back big. So that's the setup, and we now want to turn you over to the outstanding voice of the Cincinnati Reds, Mr. Jim McIntyre.
Thank you, Kurt. Just a little bit about the Cincinnati Reds. They moved into their new home, Riverfront Stadium, and I might say this, that the people here in the Midwest are very proud of their new park. They turned out in record-setting numbers this year. Over 1,800,000 watched the Reds play at home this year. Let's take a brief look at the new Riverfront Stadium. These are the third base field boxes that rotate, are built on a railroad track and rotate and come around parallel to the right field stands when the stadium is converted to football. The foul poles are really screens about 3 feet wide, and any ball hitting the screen, of course, is a fair ball. They run from the roof of the stadium all the way down to the top of the fence, a wooden board fence that is removable. It's 12 feet high. It's 330 feet down each foul line. It's 404 straight away to center field, and 375 in the power alleys. Now, you can see that the stadium is not complete. This is the stadium level on the plaza level all the way around and through the outfield, where you can sit up there and dine and watch the game. Today, World Series history, an all-synthetic field, except for the mound and home plate areas. The mound itself is built on a circular plate, is removable for football, and around the bases are sliding areas. Those sliding areas are about 20 by 20 on each side, and that's just about the dirt that there is on the field. Now let's go down to Tony Perez in the stands.
With me down on the field, Tony Martin. And Tony, you're singing the national anthem tomorrow, and it must be quite a thrill for you.
It is a thrill. It's a thrill if you can get through it without missing the words. I've had experiences. The late Nat Cole was always frightened. We always are when we get to sing that song. It's so emotional. It's just, you hope you get the words right.
Tony, what about the ball game? Do you have a favorite team? Are you a National American Leaguer?
I'm a National Leaguer, I guess, for a long, long time. I have great memories here. Freddie Hutchison. I was here. I won't give my age away, but I was here and saw that 7-game series in 1940. That's a little before your time.
Is your wife Sid Chericia?
Sid's in Chicago. She's doing a play, but she's right by the tube now, watching you and watching the whole scene and looking at me and wondering if I stayed out too late last night.
Tony Martin, looking forward to seeing you. Have a good time at the ballpark.
Thanks, Stone. Hello, everybody. Have a good time.
Let's go on back upstairs.
Our band and color guard are poised on the field. World Series.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Riverfront Stadium for the first game of the 1970 World Series between the Baltimore Orioles and the Cincinnati Reds. Here are the official lineups. First, the Baltimore Orioles. Here's the manager of the Orioles, number 4, Earl Weaver. Batting first and playing left field, number 9, Don Buford. Batting second and playing center field, number 6, Paul Blair. Batting third and playing first base, number 26, Boog Powell. Batting fourth and playing right field, number 20, Frank Robinson. Batting fifth and playing third base, number 5, Brooks Robinson. Batting sixth and catching, number 10, Elrod Hendricks. Batting seventh and playing second base, number 15, Davey Johnson. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, number 7, Mark Belanger. Batting ninth and pitching, number 22, warming up in the bullpen, Jim Palmer. Now the remaining coaches and players of the Baltimore Orioles. Coach George Bamberger. Coach Jim Fry. Coach Billy Hunter. Coach George Stoller. Players, number 37, Terry Crowley. Number 35, Mike Cuellar. Number 25, Bo Drabowski. Number 8, Andy Echeverria. Number 16, Bob Gritch. Number 29, Dick Hall. Number 44, Tim Harden. Number 40, Dave Leonard. Number 32, Marcelino Lopez. Number 19, Dave McNally. Number 21, Kurt Morton. Number 36, Tom Phoebus. Number 14, Merv Rettenman. Number 24, Pete Rickard. Number 30, Chico Simone. And number 39, Eddie Watt. The Orioles. Now, the Cincinnati Reds. The manager of the Reds, number 10, Sparky Anderson. Batting first and playing right field, number 14, Pete Rose. Batting second and playing center field, number 28, Bobby Tolan. Batting third and playing third base, number 24, Tony Perez. Batting fourth and catching, number 5, Johnny Bench. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 23, Lee May. Batting sixth and playing left field, number 25, Bernie Carbo. Batting seventh and playing second base, number 19, Tommy Helms. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, number 6, Woody Woodward. Batting ninth, warming up in the bullpen, the pitcher, number 38, Gary Nolan. Now the remaining Reds coaches and players. Coach Alex Gramis. Coach Ted Wazuski. Coach George Sugar. Coach Larry Shepard. The players, number 33, Mel Bainey. Number 22, Angel Bravo. Number 36, Clay Carroll. Number 12, Darrell Cheney. Number 17, Ty Klein. Number 40, Tony Cloninger. Number 13, Dave Concepcion. In the bullpen, number 7, Pat Corrales. Number 37, Wayne Granger. Number 35, Don Gullett. Number 31, Jim McLaughlin. Number 11, Al McRae. Number 30, Jim Merritt. Number 16, Jimmy Stewart. Number 39, Ray Washburn. And number 43, Milt Wilcox. The Cincinnati Reds. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand for our national anthem, which will be played by the Lemon Monroe High School Band, will be sung by the Jackson Five.
Young Mod group, the Jackson 5 on the national anthem. The first game of the 1970 World Series is being brought to you from Riverfront Stadium as the Baltimore Orioles meet the Cincinnati Reds.
We're getting set down on the field, Kurt, for the traditional first ball tossing ceremony. Commissioner Bowie Kuhn and Mrs. Kuhn standing alongside. I understand the commissioner's going to toss out a couple of baseballs, and Johnny Bench.
Here is a special report from the CBC newsroom. The kidnapping of British diplomat James Cross is moving towards a climax. The federal government faces releasing 23 imprisoned separatists with the alternative that the diplomat will be killed. Sources in both Ottawa and Montreal indicate a decision will be made by the federal government before the 6 p.m. deadline set by the FLQ. A statement is expected shortly by Ross Francis, a spokesman for external affairs in Ottawa, and the lawyer who has represented a number of separatists, Robert Lemieux, will hold a news conference. Mr. Francis says it is wrong to presume that the government will release the prisoners, but the possibility remains. A task force of senior civil servants with external affairs, justice, the Solicitor General's office, the RCMP, and the Prime Minister's office are working on a response to the demands. The External Affairs Minister, Mr. Sharp, is in close touch with the Quebec Justice Minister, Mr. Choquette, and the kidnappers may make contact with Mr. Lemieux. Earlier this week, both Mr. Sharp and Prime Minister Trudeau appeared to reject demands that prisoners be freed. Since then, at least one demand has been met: the broadcast of the FLQ manifesto on the CBC's French radio and television networks. But so far, no indication on how the government will react to the ultimatum. The deadline remains at 6 p.m., and we will be carrying reports throughout the day as warranted. That was a special report from the CBC newsroom. And now we rejoin the first game of the World Series.
Rookie in either starting lineup: Bernie Carbo, Bobby Tolan, the center fielder, Pete Rose, the right fielder, Johnny Bench is the catcher, and 22-year-old Gary Nolan, born in Hurlong, California, lives now in Oroville, California. His fifth professional season began in the Cincinnati organization in 1966. This year he won 18 and lost 7 with an earned run average of 3.26. He pitched a great game in the playoffs. He shut out the Pirates. Last Saturday, allowing no runs and 8 hits in 9 innings, he was removed for a pinch hitter, but he received credit for the 3-0 10-inning victory by Cincinnati. He's been rough here at home. He's won 11 and lost 3 in home games this year. And at Riverfront Stadium, you know, they moved here from Old Crosley Field midway in the season. He's won 7 out of 8 decisions. The umpires will be Ken Burkhart behind the plate. Of the National League, John Flaherty of the American League will be at first, Tony Venzone of the National at second, Stewart of the American League at third, Billy Williams of the National League down the left field line, and Emmett Ashford of the American League umpiring the right field line. 6 umpires in the game. Don Buford, who set a Baltimore club record for most walks in the season. He walked 109 times. There's his seasonal average, 272, 17 homers. And Sparky Anderson yelling something out. As a ball had been, a rubber or plastic ball had been tossed out in the right field area. Buford gets a lot of walks, but he'll jump on that first pitch if it's right where he wants it. And he can hit with some power. Last year in the World Series in Baltimore, he led off with a home run against the Mets. Here's the first pitch of the 70 series. It's a curve at the ball. Paul Blair's on deck, and Boog Powell's in the hole. Buford's a switch hitter. Fast, he can go down that line. The 1-0 pitch. 2-0. Nolan has a good fastball. He's come up with a great changeup. He said the bad arm made him develop a changeup. Pops it up. Back toward the screen comes Johnny Bench. He'll have a shot at it. 1 away.
Kurt, Johnny Bench made a terrific play during the playoffs last Monday against the Pirates. He literally climbed the screen to grab a pop foul right off the edge of the screen.
Well, I saw that on TV, and it was an unbelievable grab. George Stoller's coaching at first. Billy Hunter at third for the Orioles. 1 out, nobody on. Paul Blair up. Blair hit 267 for the year. Ball 1. Didn't hit much in the playoffs. Only had 1 hit and 13 times up. But saved 4 runs alone in 1 game against the Twins. One of the top center fielders defensively in the game. They're playing him straight away with Tony Perez in tight at third. A 1-0 pitch. 1-1 now for Blair. Blair had a bad beaning this year. In June, he was hit in the cheekbone. He had 2 operations, had to have his sinuses drained. He was out of over a month. He was hit by Ken Tatum of the Angels. Curve is low and away to him. 2-1. And Nolan has been behind the first 2 batters. That's Boog Powell on deck. The 2-1 pitch coming up by Gary Nolan. 2-2. He looks quick today, Jim.
Good fastball so far, and seems to be having a little trouble getting the off-speed curveball over. When he gets the changeup in the strike zone, that fastball looks just that much quicker.
Nolan can strike you out. He's averaged 7 strikeouts every 9 innings he's pitched in his brief National League career. And he walks a little over 3 men every 9 innings he pitched. And the delivery is a high fly in the shallow left center. Woody Woodward's going back, the shortstop. He may give way. No, he doesn't. Tolan right behind him. They usually like to let that man coming on make the grab. It's easier. Woodward handled that himself all the way. So it's 2 down as Nolan's had the first 2 Orioles popping up. Boog Powell, John Boog Powell, probably the prime candidate for most valuable player of the year honors in the American League. Smashed 35 homers, knocked in 114 runs, and hit 297. He was the leading hitter in the playoffs for the Orioles, and he's been their high average hitter in the 2 World Series. Now they're putting a shift on for him. 3 infielders on the right side, the outfield deep and toward right. You pitch him outside, though, he'll go to left field and hit it deep. Ball 1 to him. Boog was telling us before the game, I usually like to let that first pitch or 2 go by, but he said, I'm going to be aggressive in this series. I'm jumping on everything. See what he does against this shift. 2 down, nobody on. Top of the first inning, no score. A 1-0 pitch to him. Again in the dirt, and he caught his spikes on the mound. Nolan looking back. 2 balls, no strikes. Powell's the biggest player in this series. He weighs around 250. Reared in Key West, Florida. Now makes his home in the Baltimore area. Fastball for a strike. 2-1. Powell has hit for an average in the 66 series and last year's series against the Mets, but he hasn't hit with much power. The 2-1 pitch. 2-2.
An indication that Nolan has a good fastball going for him is the fact that both Buford and Blair popped it up. It's hopping.
2 down, 2-2 the count. Nobody on. Batting on the inside corner. A 1-2-3 inning for Gary Nolan. And so at the middle of the first inning, the score is Baltimore nothing, with Cincinnati coming to bat. Boog Powell will be at first base. Davey Johnson at second. Mark Belanger, the shortstop. Brooks Robinson at third. Don Buford in left field. Paul Blair in center field. Frank Robinson, the right fielder, in the shadows in the right field area. Elrod Hendricks behind the plate. And 24-year-old Jim Palmer on the mound. Born in New York, lives now in Timonium, Maryland, a Baltimore suburb. Grew up in Los Angeles, attended high school in Scottsdale, Arizona, and his first pitch to Pete Rose is a ball. Pete Rose hit .316 this season, 15 homers, 52 RBIs. Palmer drops behind 2-0. Rose has had 200 hits or more in 5 of his 8 big league seasons. Bounding ball is short. Mark Belanger, a strong throwing arm, throws him out, and there's 1 down. This game is authorized under television rights granted by Major League Baseball solely for the entertainment of our audience. And any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. Bobby Tolan, a .316 hitter for 1970, 16 homers, 80 RBIs, strong playoffs against the Pirates, slow curve fed to him by Palmer for a strike. He led the major leagues in stolen bases this year, too. He can run, he can do it all. A 1 strike pitch to him, just inside for a ball. Jim Palmer, after he got his arm and back problems and started to come back, came up with a slow curveball. Probably the arm problems made both these young pitchers learn how to pitch better. That's a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Palmer first came up, all he had was a fastball. Now he has a slow curve, a change. There's his slow curve. It's hammered into right center, in the gap, and it's going to roll to the wall. Bobby Tolan is coming into second and holds there. Tolan doubles to right center, and he hit a slow curveball.
Bobby Tolan has great speed, as Kurt said, and he hit that ball an outside pitch and still pulled it in the gap. And the outfield turf is a little bit damp. And here's a good look at Bobby's cut at that pitch. Got the end of the bat on it and still jerked it around to right center field. Big stride and good power. Bobby has a lot of power for his size.
Well, the Reds are threatening. They have 1 down. Tolan in second and Tony Perez up. Perez hits a high fly ball out to Frank Robinson, backpedaling toward the warning track. Tolan's tagging at second. Here comes Tolan the third. 2 down. Perez went right after that first pitch and flied to right. Johnny Bench. How'd you like to have this boy's future? Just 22 years old. Earl Weaver, the Baltimore manager. Johnny Bench led the majors in homers this year with 45, in RBIs with 148, and hit .293. Just 22 years old and already has completed his 3rd full year in the major league. He broke Ted Blazewski's old RBI mark of 141. Runner on third, 2 down, no score. Last of the first inning, he lines it into left field for a base hit, and Cincinnati's out in front, 1-0. And their first ball hitting against Jim Palmer. Evidently, they've had something in their scout reports jump on him. Perez went after the first pitch, and Bench went after the first pitch. Cincinnati leads 1-0. 2 down. Johnny Bench at first. When you get rid of Perez and Bench, you're still in trouble. Lee May hit 34 homers. 94 RBIs, batted .253, and a pitch of the ball to him. Lee May a couple of steps toward left. The 1-0 pitch. Line shot to left. Don Buford plays it on the hop. Bench is stopping at second. The throw comes into Belanger. And the Reds now have had 3 solid hits there in this first inning. Some jackets are being peeled in that Baltimore dugout. Tom Phoebus is going down to warm up. Phoebus. Bamberger, the pitching coach, is coming out and is going to try and settle Palmer down. That's Tom Phoebus warming up. After Rose grounded out, Tolan doubled to right center. Perez flied to right, moving Tolan to third. Bench singled in Tolan, and May is lined to single to left. Bernie Carbo. He could be the Rookie of the Year this season in the National League. He hit .310. 21 homers, 63 runs batted in. Nothing for 6 in the playoffs against Pittsburgh. He hits to the opposite field with power. He's a three-swinger up there. A Detroit, Michigan boy. The pitch to him. A slow one, ball 1. Palmer so far does not look nearly as sharp as he did against Minnesota in the playoffs last Monday. That's Bench, the lead runner, at second. Mays at first, or 2 down. Fastball's over. 1 ball, 1 strike. When Bench is picked, he hits to the opposite field with power. He's a free swinger up there. A Detroit, Michigan boy. The pitch to him. A slow one, ball 1. Palmer so far does not look nearly as sharp as he did against Minnesota in the playoffs last Monday. That's Bench, the lead runner, at second. Mays at first, or 2 down. Fastball's over. 1 ball, 1 strike. When Bench was picked in the 1965 free agent draft in the second round, Carbo was the first draft pick that year for Cincinnati. In other words, the Reds went for Carbo over Bench.
Right.
But they ended up with both of them. There's a line shot to third to Brooks Robinson. The Orioles are out of the inning, but 4 balls hit hard that inning against Jim Palmer. 1 run for the Reds, 3 hits. There were no errors and 2 men left. At the end of the first inning, it's Cincinnati 1 and Baltimore nothing.
For months.
In the second inning, Frank Robinson, Brooks Robinson, and Ellie Hendricks will be up for the Orioles. And Frank Robinson, as he said, it's like coming back to your hometown. He's returning to Cincinnati, the club that traded him away in one of the worst deals ever made in baseball history. He went to Baltimore. They said he was an old 30. This is 5 years later. He's 35, and he's still a great player. He played for Cincinnati 10 seasons, from 56 through 65. Robinson naturally would love to do well here, but he said the thing I have to do is I don't want to press. Ball 1. He had .306 this year, 25 homers, 78 runs batted in. He's never hit for an average in the 3 World Series he's been in, but he's had at least 1 homer in every series. There's a high fly into left center. Moving over is Carbo, coming on Tolan, and it's Carbo for the grab. Having some trouble getting together out there so far. 1 out. And Nolan has him hitting the ball in the air so far. Brooks Robinson hit .276 this season. 18 homers, 94 runs batted in. Had a hot playoff against Minnesota. 7 hits and 12 up. He usually does well in the biggest games. A ball to him. Cincinnati has jumped out to a 1-0 lead, top of the second. The wind is not a factor. No breeze right now. Crisp, bright, sunny afternoon. A bit high. 2-0.
You would have to call this a typical World Series day.
Perfect description. The 2-0 delivery. Foul back. 2-1 to Brooks Robinson. Both these teams came in here hot. Take a look at Nolan's record and study it for this year and his lifetime record. Baltimore won their last 11 regular season games and won 3 in a row against Minnesota. They have a 14-game winning streak coming into the series. Cincinnati won 12 of their last 15 games. All 3-1. Oddly enough, the Orioles bring there's Sparky Anderson, bring a 4-game World Series losing streak in. After winning the opener against the Mets last year, they lost 4 in a row. The 3-1 pitch to Brooks Robinson. Swung on, grounded to Perez. Backhanded stab, long throw at third. Tony Perez with a fine play at third. 2 away. As Jim pointed out, this is an all-artificial turf infield except for the sliding areas around the bag. In the American League, there's only one artificial infield. That's in Chicago. There are quite a few now in the National League, so the Orioles are playing on a strange surface to them. Ball 1, Belanger, Brooks Robinson, Davey Johnson, all said those. Ball comes a little quicker to you, but it has a true bounce, and you just have to be a little more alert. Outside of that, no difference. Foul back by Elrod Hendricks. 1 ball, 1 strike to him. 2 down, nobody on. Hendricks hitting .242. The on-deck batter, Dave Johnson. Hendricks suffered a broken middle finger on his right hand in September. He didn't catch again until September 29th, and it's going to be interesting, Jim, to see what Cincinnati does with him, because he hurt his throwing arm with that finger in the cast, changed his throwing style. He's had a sore arm. They might try and test him. 2-1. Nolan has been getting behind the hitters. This is usually poison to a pitcher. He's been behind 2-0, 2-1, or 3-1 on every batter, but has bounced back to get him out. 2 down, nobody on. The 2-1 pitch to Hendricks. Foul back, and the count's 2-2. Now this is the 6th batter he's faced, and his first pitch to each batter has been a ball.
The way he shook off Johnny Bench there before making that 3-1 pitch leads you to believe that he is relying in his own mind on his fastball.
2-2 count. 2 down, nobody on. Three and 2. Hendricks is usually a dead pull hitter to right field. Last year against the Mets, he had a long shot to left center. One of the 2 memorable plays that Tom Agee made off him. But he usually hits to right. That's the way they're playing him. Foul ball. Big Klazuski. Looks strange to see him with those glasses on. Great power hitter. The 3-2 pitch. Foul back. Two down, nobody on. Cincinnati ahead, 1-0. Top of the second. And a 3-2 pitch coming up to the Baltimore catcher, Elrod Hendricks. Went for a bad pitch and pops it up. Lee May in foul ground. The Orioles again go down 1-2-3. So in the middle of the second inning, the score is Cincinnati 1 and Baltimore 0.
That's Rusty Wallace, amazing driver. He's also my third cousin, once removed. That's his brother, Mike Wallace, driver of the Geico Chevrolet. I could see why Geico sponsors Mike. And when he does well, people will think about saving money on car insurance. Whereas if I were driving that car, all they could think about is, there goes Lauren Wallace, greatest thing that ever climbed into a race car. Poor fella. He has no idea.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Before they were known as All-Stars and MVPs, they were known simply as
Suzuki at first and Alex Gramis at third for the Reds. The Reds tagged Palmer for 3 hits in the first and a line drive out. Tommy Helms had an off season at the plate this year, hitting .237. What a defensive second base he played. Ball 1. He made the biggest play of the playoff series with the Pirates in their first game, robbing Cash of a hit and saving 2 runs. Foul back. Helms is the spunky type of player that does things that don't show up in the box scores to win for you. 1 ball, 1 strike to him. That's popped up to the left side. Brooks Robinson. 1 down. Woody Woodward. Hit .223 with 1 homer, 14 runs batted in.
Woody lost his job again this year, as he did last year, to Darrell Cheney, a young rookie. He lost his starting job to Davey Concepcion this year, but along about All-Star time, Woody was back in there, and here he is during the Championship Series and the World Series.
Ball 1 to him. They're playing him shallow into the opposite field. That's Gary Nolan on deck. I think he'll swing late on Palmer. Bounding ball to Robinson at third. Throw a little high and Boog Powell off the bag. Boy, that's something you rarely see. Brooks Robinson making an erratic throw. He had a lot of time on that one, Jim.
Take a good look at it here now. You'll see Boog Powell. Watch his feet. The throw is high. He goes up in the air to grab the ball just as Woodward lands on the bag. An eyelash before Powell's foot came down.
That's an error charged on Brooks Robinson. Just about every All-Star or World Series you see him in, he is the spectacular fielder of the series. Gary Nolan hit 159. As the pitcher. Strike to him. Robinson charging from third, Powell from first. This is a play that everybody's on the move. The shortstop's covering second. The second baseman going over to cover first. The catcher charging out. The pitcher coming off the mound. The outfielder's moving to backup throws. 1 strike to Nolan. And he's hitting away with a hit and run on. Woodward was going.
That's something you don't see often. The manager put on a hit and run with his pitcher up there.
That's Jim Palmer's seasonal, lifetime, and World Series record. He, in the World Series, you'll recall, in '66, at the age of 20, the youngest pitcher to pitch a complete World Series shutout game. Then the trouble started for him the next year and the year after. The Orioles spent over $25,000 in medical bills trying to cure that ailing arm and back of his. The bunt. And that's a good one. Robinson makes the play. They had Nolan bunting on the 3rd strike, and he jumped it successfully. 2 down. Woody Woodward's in scoring position at second.
Here's a good look at Gary bunting that ball. The pitch was up where he could bunt it, and he laid it right down. Beautiful bunt with 2 strikes. That's what you call doing the job.
Well, he squared away and had that fat part of the bat out there. Well, he's back in the dugout now with his jacket on. 2 down. Woodward at second. Pete Rose grounded to short his first time. Takes a slow curve outside for a ball. There are 2 Cincinnati-born players in this series, and one of them is at bat right now, Pete Rose. Baltimore coach Jim Fry is the other, and both went to Western Hills High School here. Ball 2. Rose, a hometown boy, completing his dream of playing in a World Series before his hometown folks. Woodward at second, 2 away. The Reds are leading 1-0, last of the second. The 2-0 pitch. Foul back. Ty Cobb, 9 times in his career, had 200 hits or more in the season. 200 doesn't sound like a lot, but believe me, that's a lot of base hits in 1 year. Rose has done it 5 times and thinks he has a chance to catch the great Cobb. 2-1. 2 down. Woodward at second. Bounding ball. Belanger charges it right across the bag and throws him out. And Palmer takes the Reds out in the second. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left. At the end of 2 innings in Cincinnati, the score, the Cincinnati Reds 1 and the Baltimore Orioles 0. Via satellite in Puerto Rico and Caracas this year. It will also be seen in Taiwan, China for the first time, and heard in the Chinese language. The series will also be seen in these countries throughout the world. And service personnel all over the globe on land and sea will be hearing the games via the Armed Forces radio. Wherever you're looking on, we hope you enjoy it. Dave Johnson starts it off for the Orioles in the third. Ball 1 to him. Johnson hitting .281 for the season. 10 homers, 53 runs batted in. He can go to right field. They're playing him straight away. There's a high fly in the shallow left center. Backing up is the second baseman, Tommy Helms. 1 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the first 7 hitters have popped up. Mark Belanger had a rough year at the plate. Finally got going in the last couple of weeks. Before the All-Star game, he was hitting .170, and after the All-Star game, the rest of the year, he hit .270, but a slow start gave him a .217 average for the year. Ball 1. 1-0. The Reds are leading, 3rd inning. Belanger played to the opposite field a couple of steps. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tony Perez, a great ball player, was erratic this year. He made a lot of errors and some throwing errors, and wouldn't be surprised, Jim. A 1-1 pitch. Strike 2. If the Orioles don't do much with Nolan here in the early innings, they may start attacking Perez by bunting or doing something like that, trying to probe, find a weakness. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Foul into the seats.
I don't think Gary liked where he got that curveball, Kurt. It was up, but up high enough that Belanger really couldn't get good wood on it.
First time that Nolan has been ahead of a batter in the game. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 out, nobody on. Got him on a good fastball. Threw it right by him. Second strikeout for Gary Nolan. And he looks just like he did last Saturday in Pittsburgh when he shut out the Pirates, a hard-hitting team, for 8 innings. Jim Palmer, good athlete Palmer. He can hit, he can field his position, he can run. A strike to him. And now Nolan settling down his control, and he's finding that strike zone.
When he gets that off-speed stuff in the strike zone, Kurt, he is tough.
A 1-strike pitch to him. Palmer, strike 2. 0-2. Nolan has set down the first 8 batters he's faced. Trying to get him to fish for a curve outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Palmer. The top of the order is on deck for the Orioles, Don Buford. Nubs it off the end of the bat to Tommy Helms. Little flip over to Lee May. Another strong 1-2-3 innings for Gary Nolan. At the end of 2.5 innings, the score, Cincinnati 1 and Baltimore nothing.
It's
Tennis, there it is, 51,531 for the receipts for the first World Series game. And Bobby Tolan, who led the Reds in their playoff series with Pittsburgh in batting, is picking right up where he left off. He doubled to start the Reds going in the first, and he scored the lone run of this game so far. He's the only player in the Cincinnati lineup with World Series experience, very limited experience, but as a pinch hitter with the Cardinals in 67 and 68. Jim Palmer's first pitch to him is a ball. Tolan, Perez, and Bench for the Reds in the last of the third. Strike from the corner, 1-1 to him. He's a cousin of the late Eddie Tolan, the gold medal winner in the 100 and 200-meter dashes in the 32 Olympics. Looked like he wanted a bunt, and he is an excellent drag bunter.
Yes, sir, Kurt. That's his forte, if you want to look at it that way. He can drag the ball and has good speed. He can also lay it down the third base side. It'd be interesting here on the artificial turf to see if he'll test Robinson at third base.
3-1 for Bobby Tolan. Fouls it back, 3-2. They're playing Tolan as a pull hitter to right. He came to the Reds in a trade along with relief pitcher Wayne Granger. Vada Pinson went to the Cardinals, a trade that has worked out beautifully for Cincinnati. And he's on, the Major League leading base stealer, Bobby Tolan, with 57 stolen bases on first. So now, Cincinnati fans already anticipating Tolan going. Tony Perez, flying to right. Former manager of the Reds, Dave Bristol, had a great description of Perez. If the game lasts long enough, he'll win it for you somehow. Inside a ball.
The first part of this season, April, May, and June, Tony carried the Reds with his bat.
1 ball, no strikes. Trying to keep Tolan close. The Reds are leading 1-0. The last of the third inning, they've had at least one base runner each inning. There he goes, and the pitch is high. Hendricks can't get it out of his net. Stolen base for Bobby Tolan. Tolan's on second, nobody out. A high fastball. Hendricks was trying to dig it out of there and come down to cock the throw. And couldn't put it all together to make the peg. Perez fouls it back. 2-1. Born in Camagüey, Cuba. He lives now in Puerto Rico. Perez, a big infielder, 6'2½", weighs 2'5". 28 years old. The 2-1 pitch by Jim Palmer. A high fly ball into right center. Tolan's tagging at second. Frank Robinson handles it. Here comes Tolan, holding, throws into Belanger. Tolan stays at second. Twice Perez is flying out to right. Johnny Bench didn't waste any time in the first inning. He lined the first pitch to him for a single in the right and brought in the first run.
Kurt, I have to think Bobby Tolan might have been mixed up on a sign from third base coach Alex Grammas. He went to third base on a fly ball similar to that, a little bit deeper in the first inning, but that time it didn't even look like he was going to try.
Bobby Tolan at second, 1 out. Cincinnati ahead, 1-0. Ball 1 to Johnny Bench. Jim Palmer has been a durable performer this year. Tied with Sam McDowell for the most innings pitched in the American League, 305. There's a pop in the shallow right. Going out is Davey Johnson. Boog Powell guides him all the way. 2 down. Tolan stays at second, and Lee May will be up now. May, single to left his first time. Palmer has not struck out a batter so far. Last Monday, he struck out 12 Minnesota players. Strike to May for his high seasonal strikeouts in one game. And in fact, in his career. So far, he hasn't had that strikeout pitch. Sometimes he gets through the early innings, like a lot of pitchers, and gets better as the game goes along. A 1-strike pitch. Slow curve is over. Beautiful pitch. Strike 2 to Lee May. 2 down. Bobby Tolan at second. He hit the curveball deep to left. That ball is going and good, a home run. Palmer hung a 2-strike curve. He'd like to have that pitch back.
Watch Palmer on this pitch now as he serves up this curveball. Got it up high to Lee May. He knew he didn't want to get it there. Oh, I wish I had that one back. High curve up in his eyes, and Lee May has tremendous power and a quick bat.
Well, he missed the first pitch. That's ball 2 now to Bernie Carbo, who lined to left field his first time. And the Baltimore Earl Weaver and Bamberger there are going to get more action going. 3-0 now, Cincinnati. Ball 3. That home run is taken up by Jim Palmer. 2 strikes on May, and he gave him the slow curve and hung it on him. Tom Phoebus warming up again. Ball 4. Carlo walk. There's 2 walks this inning. Tommy Helms will be coming up. Tom Phoebus, the second time he's warmed up. The Reds are ahead 3-0. Carbo on first. He stole 10 bases this past season. There he goes on the first pitch. Hendricks throws, and it's high, and he's in there. Now he's out. He's got him.
All right, take a look now. You'll see the play at second base. Carbo had a good lead, but they pitched out, and Hendricks did get away. A good throw, although it was high. It was there ahead of the runner. And Carbo evidently missed the bag. Let's take a good look. The throw is up high. Belanger comes down with it. Bernie reaching around with his hand for the base, but didn't find it in time.
So in the last of the third, 2 runs, 1 hit. There were no errors, no one left. At the end of 3, it's Cincinnati 3 and Baltimore nothing. 1 to him. Buford fouled out his first time. Top of the order for Baltimore. Buford, Blair, and Powell. They've had 9 men up and 9 men go back to that dugout. The Reds had 3 runs, 4 hits. Baltimore, no runs, no hits. 1-1. Well, so far, the Reds have had the pitching, the hitting. Baltimore's been struggling. The 1-1 pitch. 2-1 to Buford. He's one of the best leadoff men in the business. That's Blair on deck. It's a high fly ball out to right fielder Pete Rose. Notice the shadows in the right field corner. 1 down. 10 in a row retired now by Nolan and the Reds. Paul Blair popped up. The Orioles are hitting underneath Nolan's pitches. They've had 3 fly balls to the outfield, 2 foul pop-ups, and an infield pop-up. Nolan has struck out 2, no walks. Ball 1 to him. Perez drawn in at third. Blair is an excellent bunter. 1 out, nobody on. Cincinnati out in front, 3-0. We're in the top of the 4th inning. Ball 1. You know, he's pitching a funny game, Jim. He looks like that last pitch. He'll throw one pitch, it looks terrible, and he comes right back with a great pitch.
Well, it's still his curveball, Kurt. I think that he's having trouble getting it where he wants to.
1 ball, 1 strike. Foul back. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Blair. Boog Powell, the on-deck batter. The 1-2 delivery. Curve is outside, 2-2.
Dropped down sidearm that time. Trying to get the breaking stuff in there somehow.
One down, nobody on. The 2-2 pitch to Blair. Foul out of play. Nolan was the Cincinnati opening day pitcher in 1969. Struck out 12 in that game. Lost to the Dodgers 3-2. His next time out, he pulled a muscle in his right forearm, and he wasn't able to pitch effectively until August of that season. There's a slow roller. This is a tough play. No play. Perez just let him go. Blair on first with an infield hit. That's the first hit for the Orioles and their first base runner. Boog Powell, the batter. Nolan started this game with a 10-inning scoreless streak. Now has pitched 13 1/3 scoreless innings in a row. Last regular game with the Dodgers, the playoff into the World Series. Powell is one of the best swings in Major League Baseball. Oh, and big boy, but he has a level, perfectly grooved swing. 3-0. Cincinnati ahead in the 4th. Paul Blair at first for the Orioles, 1 out. 2-0 to him. They're trying to jam him, pitch him inside. On deck, Frank Robinson. The 2-0 pitch. That's a pitch he likes. There's a long drive to left. That ball is gone, a home run. He'll murder that outside pitch and hit it deep to left. He hit 3 at Fenway Park one day, all up on the left field screen to the opposite field. So now it's 3-2. Boog Powell's 2-run homer.
All right, take a good close look at Gary Nolan as he lets it go, and Boog Powell as he takes that big cut at that outside pitch. The ball here carries extremely well down the foul lines and to straightaway center field. But it doesn't carry so well in the power alleys in right center and left center.
And the first pitch is outside to Frank Robinson for ball 1. Boog Powell got a big greeting when he went to that Baltimore dugout. 3 runs, 4 hits for Cincinnati, 2 runs, 2 hits for the Baltimore Orioles. A 1-0 pitch to Frank Robinson. Ball 2, 2-0. Bench decides he better have a talk with Nolan. In the last World Series game played at Cincinnati, that was October 9th, 1961. The Yankees won that game 13-5. Frank Robinson hit a home run against Ralph Terry. Sparky Anderson. He's the youngest manager 36 years old in the major leagues. The 2-0 delivery. Foul back.
Oh, almost a nice catch, Mac.
Right up here in our NBC telecasting booth on deck, Brooks Robinson.
Alan Roth was looking for cover.
A high fly out to right fielder Rose. Right in his tracks almost. 2 down. Brooks Robinson grounded out his first time. On the NBC scoreboard, Cincinnati 3, Baltimore 2. Curve is in the dirt. Two down, bases empty. Ground ball to third. Perez picks it up. Got him. And the Baltimore Orioles in the fourth had 2 runs, 2 hits, a 2-run homer by Boog Powell. There were no errors, no one left. At the end of 3.5 innings, the score is Cincinnati 3, Baltimore 2.
Thank you, Kurt. With me, Mrs. Nolan. Carol, was your husband nervous this morning?
No, he wasn't. He was real calm.
What about when that Boog hit that home run right there? How'd you
I
feel?
was nervous. I don't know about Gary. I think he was all right.
Carol, thank you so much. Let's go back and watch the ball game. Let's go upstairs.
Tommy Helms leading off for the Reds in the last of the fourth. Palmer's over with a strike to him. Helms popped up his first time. This is the bottom third of the Cincinnati batting order. Helms, Woodward, and Nolan. 2-1. Tommy's from North Carolina. That state has turned out a lot of major league ball players. 3-1. In this World Series, we have them from everywhere. I think California is the leader. 3-2. California has 6 native sons in this World Series. The only state with more than one. Oh, there's some of the others. There's a fly ball in the left center. Paul Blair drawing a beat on it. 1 down. We have them here from the Virgin Islands, Cuba, Panama, Venezuela, Poland. Also Hawaii. Woody Woodward. Reached it in air his first time. 3-2 Cincinnati, last of the fourth. The ball to Woodward. Foul back. 1-1.
Kurt, Brooks Robinson at third base is fairly deep, and Woodward is an excellent bunter.
Let's see what happens. 1 out, nobody on. Pops it up. Powell coming on. The big first baseman has it, and they're 2 down. Well, that home run swing of Boog Powell seemed to pick up Jim Palmer. Gary Nolan gets a hand. He sacrificed his first time. Two away, nobody on. That's a pitch for you.
Oh, that's got to be embarrassing. The ball just slipped out of Palmer's hand, but when you have it do that.
I've seen him, you know, Jim. Watch this pitch. This is one of the strangest pitches in World Series history. That looked like a backward delivery of Rip Sewell's blooper ball that went the wrong way.
I will say this, he had great form.
Yes, sir, he had to follow through.
Yes, he did.
You know, I've seen him, accidentally hit their leg on the delivery or ball come back. Now Weaver's out talking. But evidently that ball just slipped out of his grip.
That's all. That can happen to anybody.
Weaver may be arguing that's not a pitch.
That might be it. Burkhart might have called a ball on that delivery.
Now they're going to call in red Flaherty. Weaver didn't win an argument last year. Everything went against him. Let's see if he wins the first argument of this 1970 series. In fact, he was the first manager in over 30 years to be ejected from a World Series game.
I guess technically, Kurt, it's a question of whether it was a delivered pitch or not.
Right. That's it. Ball one. Ken Burkhart, the home plate umpire, used to pitch for Cincinnati in 48 and 49. And now he's going through the motions of, it was a delivery.
Right.
Well, the ball never left the mound. Went up above his head. Ball two. That is the strangest pitch, I believe, that you'll ever see in a World Series or ever have seen. 2-0. 2 down, nobody on. Nolan takes a strike. We pause briefly for station identification. And the next pitch is ball 3, 3-1. Kurt Gowdy with Jim McIntyre and Tony Kubek from Cincinnati. Foul into the seats, 3-2. Nolan's been hot with his bat lately. Last 17 times up, he's had 6 hits for the Reds. The 3-2 pitch. A fly ball to straightaway center. Drifting a little bit over in right center now goes Paul Blair. And the Reds are down for the first time in the game, 1-2-3. Well, we've gone 4 innings here in Cincinnati, and our score is Cincinnati 3 and Baltimore 2.
Now to Ottawa for a report on the Cross kidnapping. Here's Ron Collister.
About 2 o'clock and 4 hours to go before the deadline on James Cross's life runs out. Behind me is the East Block, the power center of the Canadian government, where Canadian officials are now making the decision, how much is the life of one man worth? Inside, External Affairs Minister Mitchell Sharp and his officials in telephone contact with the Prime Minister, Mr. Trudeau. The latest news, a tendency here to play down speculative stories of decisions to trade Mr. Cross for the liberation of FLQ prisoners in Quebec jails. The contingency plans were laid by the government yesterday, and the cabinet will not be called together again unless those plans need to be changed. My impression is that the cabinet is not willing to free the prisoners, but it's now a question of whose nerve will break first, the government's or the terrorists, as the final hours tick by. Ron Collister, CBC News in Ottawa.
Now we rejoin the Baltimore Orioles and the Cincinnati Reds in the first game of the World Series.
Ellie Hendricks leads off for the Orioles in the top of the 5th. He fouled out his first time. Hendricks, Johnson, and Belanger against Gary Nolan. There's a drive hit to deep right field. Rose looking up and watches it sail into the seats, and this game is tied. Ellie Hendricks pulls it to right in the corner. Those are football stadium seats. That's why they're not sold here for the World Series. 3 home runs already, 2 by the Orioles and 1 by the Reds.
Here's a good look at Ellie Hendricks' swing on this home run pitch. Big stride, raises that foot up, and he got it right on the meat part of the bat. And as we said, the ball carries very well down the lines here at Riverfront Stadium. And there's Ellie in the dugout being congratulated.
3-3 game now. Nobody on, nobody out. Dave Johnson, a strike to him. Johnson fly to center. They call Cincinnati the Big Red Machine. A ball. They do have some power hitters in their bench, Perez or May, but the Orioles scored more runs during the season than the Reds did, even though the Reds had a better team batting average. A 1-1 pitch to Dave Johnson. 2-1 to him. Nolan's having trouble striding off that mound. It's twice he's one of Connie Spikes. The Reds hit 12 more homers this year than Baltimore. Foul back. Of course, you know, you can't match up teams in different leagues with different ballparks. It all depends a lot where you're playing. There's Baltimore. Look how well they rated in the American League. 2-2 to Dave Johnson. Line drive foul into the right field seat. Sparky Anderson. The 2-2 pitch. Curve, foul back out of play. Davey Johnson attended Texas A&M for 2 years, playing baseball and basketball. He also attended Trinity University in the off seasons after he began his professional baseball career. Born in Orlando, Florida, lives now in Baltimore, 27 years old. Can make that double play, as can Tommy Helms. Another foul. Johnson was the American League Gold Glove winner for his first time in '69. The 2-2 delivery. Fouls it back. Game tied 3-3. 3 runs, 4 hits for Cincinnati. 3 runs, 3 hits for Baltimore. 2 of the Orioles' 3 hits have been homers. Three and 2 to Dave Johnson. Just missed off the corner. On deck is Mark Belanger. Struck him out. Third strikeout for Gary Nolan. Belanger struck out his first time. Belanger built much like a former great shortstop, Marty Marion. Tall, tremendous range in the infield. Ball one. Marcus from Pittsfield, Massachusetts, where he was a star basketball player. 1 ball, no strikes. 1 out, nobody on. Foul back. 1-1 to Belanger. And he was also named a Gold Glove winner in the American League. 69. Maybe again this year. They give a Gold Glove to the outstanding defensive players in their position. Voted on. 2-1. Doesn't get the publicity as the most valuable player, the Cy Young, and some of the other awards, but it means something to players with defensive skills. The 2-1 pitch. 2-2. Earl Weaver, 40 years old. These two managers have a lot in common. Weaver never played in the major leagues. Sparky Anderson played only 1 year. Fastball for strike 3. 4 strikeouts. Both coached in the majors, not too long. Both have been outstanding minor league managers and winning minor league managers. And both played second base in their playing career. Jim Palmer grounded out his first time. Game tied 3-3, top of the 5th. Bowman. Jim, have you noticed the trend that more and more ball clubs hiring men out of their organization who have served years of apprenticeship? They don't care whether they've been big stars or not.
No, that's the important thing, I think, is knowing the organization.
A bunt, foul. Handling, I guess, their young players through the minors, proving themselves down below.
And knowing a little bit about the talent and the personnel that they have.
2 down, nobody on for the Orioles in the top of the 5th.
It's certainly been successful when you talk about these 2 men.
That's right. 1 ball, 1 strike to Jim Palmer. Trying to reach for that curve. Buford. That ball started over to the on-deck circle, just reached out and tapped it away. He's getting a practice swing in. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two down, bases empty. The outside pitch makes the count 2-2. Struck him out. He struck out the side in the 5th after Hendricks led off with a home run. 1 run for the Orioles, 1 hit. There were no errors, nobody left. We've gone halfway at the end of 4.5 innings. It's Baltimore 3 and Cincinnati 3. Pre-game show hosted by Joe Garagiola with Sandy Koufax and Mickey Mantle. Tomorrow is Cuellar pitching for Baltimore. McLaughlin for the Reds, and pitching now is Jim McIntyre, the voice of the Cincinnati Reds.
Thank you very much, Kurt. And hello, everybody. Rose, the top of the order, is bounced out twice to shortstop. And he ran up on that pitch like he was going to bunt it, and it was called strike 1. Pete, one of the few good switch hitters in baseball, fouls 1 back, 2 strikes. And now they're going to say that Hendricks tipped his bat, and Rose has been awarded first base. As he took a cut at the ball, his bat hit Hendricks' mitt, and he's given first base.
Strange things happening in this first World Series game.
That's right, Kurt. That's an error on Ellie Hendricks, the second Baltimore error, as he's charged with interference on Rose's cut. And Rose is at first with none out in the 5th inning. Score tied, 3-3. At the plate, Bobby Tolan has doubled and walked and scored 2 runs. Ball, strike call, delayed strike call. Down in the bullpen, right-hander Dick Hall of Baltimore begins to throw. Foul away. 2 strikes to Tolan. Crowd tense. They've seen the long ball today, and they may see some more. Count remains 2 strikes to Bobby Tolan. Tolan was the Reds' most consistent hitter of 1970. On May the 23rd, he was batting .302. He got up to .328 and never varied between those 2 figures the rest of the way. There's a ball high. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rose being held close at first by big Boog Powell. Pete is not really a threat to steal, although they may play hit and run any time. Back easily. Rose crawfishes away. Tolan loops a fly to center, but Blair is there. 1 out. First time Tolan hasn't been on base. Tony Perez has twice flied to Frank Robinson in right field. Palmer trying to bear down and get by the Reds and stay on here. There's some impressive figures. Trying to keep a short halter on Pete Rose. Deep right center. Blair backing over. 2 out. Rose trying to draw the throw and does. 2 away.
Jim, you notice how quickly that Blair gets a jump on the ball. As soon as that ball leaves the bat, he's in position. He
plays as shallow as center field, as you'll see. 2 out, Rose first. 3-3 tie, last half of the 5th inning. Johnny Bench, who appeared on the cover of about 5 different national magazines this year. Back of the plate might be a play. Hendricks, yes, side retired. Reds in the 5th inning, no runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 man left. At the end of 5, the score is Baltimore 3, Cincinnati 3. Off batter as we come to the 6th inning of the game. Score tied 3-3.
You know, Jim, when Hendricks, the catcher, interfered with Pete Rose, that would have been an interesting situation if the play had continuous and base running, because the manager of the offensive team would have had the option to refuse the interference call.
Off-speed pitch seemed to tail away from Buford.
How many times have you seen catcher's interference in a season?
Not many. That's rare. That's going to be out of play. Bench made a catch on one of the Pirate batters about that same spot last Monday. Don Buford's home run total of 17 this year was a personal high. His previous high was 15, 1968. So Don's picking up a little strength with age. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nolan Patty hit the inside edge about knee high. He's moving the fastball around. Gary, it's hard. There's Paul Blair, the on-deck batter. It's hard to realize Gary Nolan at 22 years old is a veteran of 4 years of National League play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. You wonder sometimes why the players continually rake dirt around. Of course, here at Riverfront Stadium, the catcher and the pitcher are about the only ones who are able to do that. Most everybody else is stationed on the synthetic surface, and there's just no dirt to rake. Right over Nolan's ear. Buford is on with his first hit, the Orioles' 4th, and we're even in the hit column now, 4 each.
And we've got one of the 2 top base runners now, the Orioles on base. Blair led with 24 stolen bases. Buford swiped 16. So he may be a threat here on the bases.
I think the crowd would get a kick out of seeing Bench try to cut Buford down. Blair beat out that little nubber down the 3rd baseline his last time up. 1 strike. Blair hit a 3-run homer and hit 3 home runs in a game at Chicago on April 29th this year. Bunt try, popped up, and Bench couldn't quite get there. 2 strikes now to Blair. Nobody out. The Reds have started a pitcher down in the bullpen. Young right-hander Milt Wilcox has gotten out of the dugout. There's Milt, number 43. Loosening up in the Reds bullpen. Just 20 years old. Another good young pitcher. 2 strikes to Blair. Struck him. That's 6 strikeouts for Gary Nolan. 1 down, 1 on. 6th inning, score tied 3-3. And Big Boog Powell comes strolling out of there. Nolan has to take a deep breath.
Jim, even though he hit the ball to left for a home run his last time up, the Reds are still playing him well around toward right.
They have to jam him with the fastball, get it inside. Off speed and away. 1 ball, no strikes. Boog was selected the most valuable player on the Orioles by the press, radio, and TV personnel who cover the club in each of the last 2 seasons. Throw to first. Back save. Buford had to come in, diving, hand outstretched. One thing about Johnny Bench, he'll throw anytime, anywhere, to any base in an effort to pick off a runner. He doesn't hold anything back. Touted as perhaps the greatest arm in many, many years. Great young catcher. 2-0 pitch. Lee May, short hop. Out at second, back to first. Hitting the back double play. That's 3-6-3, and the Orioles are out in the 6th inning. So at the middle of the 6th, it's the Reds 3, and here's another look at that double play.
Well, this is the old baseball cliche, the double play the hard way, first to short and back to first, and the Reds have just pulled it off.
Now in the middle of the 6th inning, the Reds 3 and the Orioles 3. Jim Palmer getting ready to go to work in the last half of the 6th inning for the Orioles will face Lee May, who has been up twice with a single and a home run. Craner working on one of the Oriole players in the dugout. He's obscured from our view. They're just taping up Ellie Hendricks' chest protector or mask.
If ever a trainer had the right name, it's this fellow, Ralph Savon. That's his name, Ralph Savon. And he does put some salve on those ball players during the year.
Well, he got his mask fixed with a little tape, and he's ready to go, Kurt. Palmer, I'm sure, would like to pick up a World Series victory here today and give himself a little early birthday present. He's going to celebrate his 25th birthday next Thursday. Big Lee May. Good fastball. Palmer has been more consistent with his fastball than he has his breaking stuff, although he's coming around with both of them. A little low with an off-speed delivery. There's Lee's wife, Terry. That is Powell.
Jim, it's rare to see Jim Palmer go through 5 innings without a strikeout.
Well, he hasn't hung up any yet, has he? 1 ball, 2 strikes. Some very fine figures on the Reds. 2-2, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Since the Reds opened Riverfront Stadium June the 30th of this year, 2 balls have been hit in the Red seats in left field. One by Tony Perez and one by Richie Allen. Grab ball. Great play by Robinson.
Look at that.
Oh, great day in the morning. What a play.
Well, he does it in big games. Watch this play. 33-year-old Brooke Robinson. Going to his right for this one. He goes better to his left than the right, but how can you beat this? And getting a ball away off balance and still there, even though on a bounce. Just a remarkable play. That's one of the best plays you'll ever see a third baseman make in a World Series game. And he made some great ones last year against the Mets and also against the Dodgers in '66.
Oh, boy, what a play. Ball 1 high to Carbo. Bernie has a tremendous batting eye. 1 ball, 1 strike. He led the Cincinnati Reds in bases on ball, drew 94 walks in 125 games. He led minor leagues twice in bases on ball. Made the club in spring training. 3 balls, 1 strike. 1 out, none on. 6th inning, Reds batting 3-3 tie. Foul away, 3-2. Carbo has good power to left field. Just celebrated his 23rd birthday last month. Ball 4. That's the 3rd walk given up by Jim Palmer. It comes with 1 out in the 6th inning. And Tommy Helms to the plate. Helms is one batter in the Reds lineup that Sparky Anderson likes to hit and run with. He can go to right field. His only home run was hit here in Riverfront Stadium this year. Hit and run, and it's in center. Carbo for third base. First pitch, hit and run. Helms singles to center. Carbo to third. 5 hits for the Reds off Palmer. Sparky is getting a little excited and indicating that he will send up a pinch batter for Woody Woodward, looks like. Ty Klein is getting a bat and is going to come up. Ty Klein is going to bat for Woody Woodward. Darrell Cheney is loosening up for the Reds down the right field line and will go to play shortstop, no doubt.
This fellow does as well pinch hitting in the World Series as he did in the playoffs. He'll be all right, Jim.
Yes, he will. He came through. Well, let's see. There's Earl Weaver. He's scratching Klein off the list right there. Down in the bullpen for the Orioles, there's some action beginning. Right-hander, left-hander. Klein, left-handed hitter. Obtained to the Reds June the 15th this year from Montreal. Runners first and third. Ball 1 high. Mo Grabowski and Marcelino Lopez are the pitchers in the bullpen for Baltimore. And the Reds are going to start some action now. Clay Carroll is coming out. Good fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now Wilcox is up. That's number 43, Milt Wilcox, warming up. And Darrell Cheney is number 12, you see there, playing pitch and catch. One ball, 1 strike to Ty Klein, 1 out. Carbo at third, Helms at first. Foul away, 1 and 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gary Nolan is kneeling in the on-deck circle for the Cincinnati Reds, but don't be surprised if he's taken down. There's Gary. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 out, 2 men on. 3-3 tie. Klein had a notion. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Slow curve. Trouble. Elrod Hendricks. Oh, and the umpire went down, and Carbo is arguing. Sparky Anderson will come out and put in his 2 cents. Hendricks just stepped out in front of the plate, came down with the ball, turned around, and got Carbo sliding in.
Very unusual play. Watch this ball bounce and hang in fair territory right up above the plate. Hendricks has no play at first, and here's his only play as he makes the tag on Carbo sliding in. Let's watch Bernie Carbo now coming in from third on the instant replay in slow motion. He's going to try and hook around the tag. That ball's coming down to Hendricks. Here's Hendricks going for him. That's it. Sparky Anderson going back to the dugout. It's a fielder's choice to Klein. Carbo's out at home. Helms is on second. That makes it 2 down now for the Reds. And Anderson's still boiling.
Yes, he is. He is hot under the collar. I don't see how you can claim umpire interference. Nolan is going to bat for himself. Foul back, strike one.
He did have to slide out to his right with the umpire there.
I think that might have been why Sparky was a little bit put out. Nolan, strike 2. 2 out, 2 on. Last half of the 6th inning, Game 1, 1970 World Series. The Reds and the Orioles in a flat-footed tie, 3-3. Paul Blair in and over, and that ends it. In the 6th inning for the Reds, no runs, 1 hit, 2 runners left on, and the score at the end of the 6th inning is the Reds 3 and the Orioles 3.
Homeowners, do you have an adjustable rate mortgage? How much?
Now, before the Orioles bat in the 7th inning, let's go to Tony Kubek.
With me, the editor and publisher of the Sporting News, one of the most knowledgeable men in baseball, Mr. J. Johnson Spink. Mr. Spink, you had a good view at that last play. What'd you call?
Well, I thought that the umpire obstructed the slide into home plate, and I think that's what Adams. I don't think he was arguing about whether it was safe or out. I think that he felt that the umpire obstructed his path.
A quick expert opinion on the outcome of this series.
Well, I think I'll have to go with Baltimore in their pitching.
Mr. Spink, thank you. Let's go back to the booth.
Frank Robinson will lead off for Baltimore in the 7th inning. Darrell Cheney is the new shortstop for the Reds. Fair or foul? Foul ball. Strike 1. If you get the pitch on the inside half of the plate, Robinson, who stands up on top of the plate as close as anybody, he can hit it a long way. 1 strike. Ball 1.
We'll get a view of him from our center field camera, and I think the fans can see how close he stands to the plate and why he used to lead the National League when he was here in Cincinnati getting hit by pitch balls.
That's right. 2 balls, 1 strike. That was before a fellow by the name of Ron Hunt came along.
Well, actually, Minnie Minoso holds a record for being hit by pitch balls in a career. 189. Frank's not too far behind him, about 23 behind him.
High pop-up, right side. Lee May, 1 away. Here's Brooks Robinson. What a play. What a terrific play he made on that ground ball at third base on Lee May. Major League and World Series kind of play. Good fastball. Robinson none for 2. Twice he's bounced out to Perez at third base. They play him straight away. Left field. Carbo going back. Warning track. Looks up. Over. Brooks Robinson has given the Orioles the lead with a home run. The 3rd hit for Baltimore today. And it's 4-3 Orioles.
Now here's our split screen. Nolan. Watch him after he delivers the pitch. Brooks Robinson swing. Not a big home run hitter, but he'll cash in his share. Nolan watching that ball sail out.
What do they say about a picture? 1,000 words.
What do you have to say?
Brooks quite happy about it. First pitch was low for Paul Hendricks. He hits one to right, and it is a foul ball. Emmett Ashford, the right field foul line umpire, followed that one just to the right of the foul screen.
This fella can jerk that ball out in a hurry. There's Emmett Ashford, the right field umpire down the line. A quick bat, Jim.
Yes, he has. Brooks Robinson's home run was his second home run in World Series play. Good off-speed pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Brooks hit his first series home run and his first time at bat in the 1966 series. 4-3, Baltimore. 1 out, 7th inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Ellie Hendricks. Clay Carroll out in the bullpen for the Reds down the right field line. Hendricks taking a little time getting set in the batter's box. Struck him out on a curveball. That's 7 strikeouts for Gary Nolan. 2 down for the Orioles in the 7th. And coming out, Dave Johnson. Gary has made 3 mistakes today, and they've cost him. Ball 1 a little low. Johnson, a very steady ball player. Strike at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike. The shadow of the grandstand has not reached the playing area yet, except in right field. Change up. 2 balls, 1 strike. In about a half an hour, the shadow of the stands will have engulfed home plate and make it tough for the hitter. 3-1.
The home run ball has plagued Nolan today. He's averaged giving up 1 home run about every 10 innings he's worked this year, so this hasn't been his usual home run rate today.
No, he's made some mistakes today, and it cost him. Ball 4. That's the first base on balls off Nolan, and it may be an indication that he's getting a little tired. So Baltimore has a runner at first, 2 out, and Mark Belanger, the shortstop, coming up. He only hit .217 for the season, but from the All-Star break on, he found the range and began to hit much better. He's none for 2 today. He's been a strikeout victim twice, once swinging and once called. Toss to first. Time had been called by the first base umpire. Just as Nolan let go of the ball, John Flaherty called time, and Sparky Anderson is headed for the mound, and he's going to bring in Clay Carroll. So he evidently decided that Gary was also getting tired when he gave up that first walk, and he brings on Clay Carroll from the bullpen. Well, fans, there's a break in the action here at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. The score is Baltimore 4, Cincinnati 3. Let's go to Tony Kubek down in the stands. Tony?
If you're a fan of the bold ones, you'll recognize this fellow, Mr. David Hartman. Dave, I understand you're going to be doing some work for Major League Baseball.
You betcha. We feel it's a very positive thing, Tony, baseball, and for kids, that they can do a lot of good by playing baseball instead of doing other things.
Let's go upstairs right now, David, and I'll talk to you a little bit later.
All right, Tony. Clay Carroll's first pitch is inside to Mark Belanger, ball 1. Clay won 9, lost 4 on the season, and there's his earned run average, 2.60. From Clanton, Alabama, Clay Carroll. Foul back, 1-1. The ball players tell you that when Clay Carroll is throwing good and throwing hard, that everything he throws moves. Great stuff. 2 out, Johnson at first. Belanger fouls it out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. This is Clay Carroll's 7th year in the National League. He was with Milwaukee and the Atlanta Braves before coming to the Reds, along with Tony Cloninger and Woody Woodward in that trade for Milt Pappas, Teddy Davidson, and Bob Johnson in 1968. Appeared in 65 games for the Reds this year. Ball 2-2. Clay was quite a reliever in 1966. He appeared in 73 games, which was tops in the league that year. 2 balls, 2 strikes, pitch foul back. Last year, Clay was in 71 games. Carroll pitched the 10th inning last Sunday against the Pirates in the championship series and set them down 1-2-3. Pop foul, back of third, and out of play. Brooks Robinson's home run in this inning has given the Baltimore Orioles a 4-3 lead. 7th inning at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Scene of Game 2 here tomorrow. Monday will be a travel day. And the series resumes in Baltimore next Tuesday. Check swing, line drive, foul. Belanger brought his bat around and stopped it. And the ball hit his bat and almost went for a double. Gary Nolan, who just went out of the game, worked the first 6 2/3 innings. Gave up only 5 hits, but 3 of them went for 4 bases. Walked 1 and struck out 7. Belanger getting the bat on the ball. 2-2. Notice several of the Baltimore players with that cork under their eye today to eliminate some of the glare and the sunshine. But none of the Reds players have it. Base hit, right field. That's Rose. Johnson holds at second. 6 hits for Baltimore now. Runners at first and second. And Palmer will swing the bat.
He's no automatic out up there. He hit a double against the Twins Monday to help himself, knock in some runs.
Jim Palmer. Looks like a hitter. Foul back, strike 1. That's Belanger at first. Behind Clay Carroll, Davey Johnson. One ball, 1 strike. Good off-speed breaking ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Johnson, Belanger at first, 2 men out. A run in the 7th. The Orioles are ahead 4-3. Strike 3 call. Baltimore is down in the 7th, scoring 1 run with 2 hits, left 2 men on. And the score in the middle of the 7th inning is the Orioles 4, the Reds 3.
Thank you, Jim. With me again, David Hartman. And David, you started to tell us about your connection with baseball.
Yeah, we're moving right along out here. Working with Major League Baseball, both the National American League, to promote baseball. We think it's a positive thing for young people to be even more interested in baseball. And that's why I'm here, and we're going to do it with films and with television and anything we can do to develop even more interest in baseball.
Dave, I know you want to see the Cincinnati Ball Club hit. Thanks again.
Thank you, Tony. Good to see you.
Back up to the booth.
Pete Rose up to lead off for Cincinnati in the 7th and takes a call strike. Pete has been up 3 times without a hit. Was awarded first base on Hendricks' interference last time up. Foul. A foot outside the line. 2 strikes to roll. Just off the plate. I'll say one thing, Palmer did not waste that pitch by much. He was looking for the black. Right center should be easy. Robinson or Blair, both there. Blair. 1 out.
That was a good changeup pitch by Palmer. Took just a little off, and that's the pitch he's come up with. It has helped him to even make his fastball look better.
Bobby Tolan has been on 2 runs for the Reds here today. Doubled and scored in the first, walked and scored in the third. Season figures for him. And a vicious cut and a good fastball. Two strikes. Palmer is getting ahead of the hitters with a 1-run advantage. He's tasting victory, perhaps. Did he? Hendricks thought he did. Pegged to third, but Burkhart says no.
Here comes Weaver out again. Get back. Now they've called for the third base umpire, Bob Stewart, to give a judgment, and he said also it was a check swing. Sometimes that home plate umpire gets blocked out on his view behind the catcher.
Weaver going down the steps, leading to the runway to the clubhouse. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Last year, you know, Weaver was ejected from the game for coming out protesting a called strike. Left center, Buford, yes. 2 out for the Reds in the 7th inning. Baltimore leading 4-3. Tony Perez strolls up. So far today, Palmer has done an excellent job of keeping the ball away from Perez. Twice he's got him on fly balls to right field, and once to right center, a ball that Blair caught. He's high with that one. Jim Merritt in the Cincinnati Reds bullpen. 1 ball, 1 strike. Merritt been bothered by a bad elbow. Maybe just trying to throw the kinks out right now. That looked like that same pitch that Rose popped into short right center. An off-speed delivery. He got it up a little bit. I think Palmer's glad that he's got that ball back in his hand. 2 balls, 1 strike. Make it 3-1. Johnny Bench, a picture of concentration. Ball 4. That's the 4th walk given up by Palmer. And takes Hendricks out to top with his pitcher and brings some action down to the bullpen for the Orioles. Pete Rickert, number 24, left-hander, and Dick Hall is a right-hander is going to join him. Johnny Bench led the club in producing the runs that won games during the year, with Perez at first and 2 out. Vicious cut, foul back, strike 1. Palmer has walked 4 and has not struck out a batter. Has only allowed 5 hits. 2 extra base hits, a homer, a double, 3 singles. That one bounces to the backstop. Perez to second as the ball is played by Hendricks to hold him at second base. A wild pitch. 29. Rickard on the right, throw a little harder. 1-1, the count to Johnny Bench with 2 out. Perez now at second base. 4-3, Orioles leading 7th inning. Ball 2. Bench liked the looks of that one. 2-2, Perez retracing his steps back to second. And Johnny Bench for the second blow. He's had 1 hit and 3 times at bat today, a single. Ken Burkhart, the plate umpire, fires a new one out there. Freddie Hutchinson called him frozen arm. 2-2. The fence in front of the dugout kept that one from going in. Johnny Bench from Binger, Oklahoma. He's really put Binger on the map. Got a piece of it. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Perez at second. 7th inning. Baltimore leading 4-3. Brooks Robinson. That ends the Reds' 7th. No runs, no hits. A man walked left on at the end of 7 innings of play. It's the Orioles 4 and the Reds 3.
When you donate your used car or truck to the Maryland School for the Blind.
Yeah, not only
Now to Ottawa for a report on the Cross kidnapping. Here's Ron Collister.
About 3 o'clock and 3 hours before the deadline on James Cross's life runs out. The waiting game goes on and the silence is beginning to scream. Officials will say nothing. Behind me, the East Block, the power center of the Canadian government, where people are getting down to the big decision of just how much they're willing to pay for the life of one man. External Affairs Minister Sharp is masterminding the strategy and is in telephone contact with Prime Minister Trudeau. The latest news, a tendency here to play down speculative stories of decisions to trade Mr. Cross for the liberation of FLQ prisoners in Quebec jails. The contingency plans were laid by the Cabinet yesterday, and the Cabinet will not be called again unless there's need to change those plans. My impression is that the Cabinet is not willing to free the prisoners, but it's now a question of whose nerve will break first, the terrorists or the government's, as the hours tick by. Ron Collister on Parliament Hill.
Now back to the first game of the World Series with play in the top of the 8th inning.
Paul Blair. Good speed. To Perez, big hop. 2 down.
The way Clay Carroll looks, you can understand why the Cincinnati manager, Sparky Anderson, gives nothing away to Baltimore's pitching. Sure, they've got 3 great starters, but we have a better bullpen.
And in Clay Carroll and Wayne Granger and Don Gullett from the 7th inning on, Kurt, the Reds do have, I think, a little bit of an advantage.
Those are 3 great starters the Orioles have, though.
Yes, they are. Tremendous. Off speed, low, ball 1. Howell with a 2-run homer in the 4th inning. Brought the Orioles back to a 1-run disadvantage before it was tied by Hendricks in the 5th. Crowded him, ball 2. There have been 4 home runs in today's game. And all of them have been down the lines, that is, toward the corners of the stadium. Good curveball. 2 balls, 1 strike. As we said the ball carries down the lines very well. Good look at Clay Carroll, and straight away to center, but right center, left center, it doesn't carry so well. Two, 1, 3 balls, 1 strike.
Jim, you mentioned 4 homers by the two clubs today. The World Series record for a game by two teams is 6.
Well, with the power that the Orioles have coming up with Frank Robinson, Brooks Robinson, Ellie Hendricks next. There's a strike. 3 and 2. And in the 8th inning for the Reds, May and Carbo. We may see some more here. Carroll with a big pitch, 3-2. Foul. Reds dugout. On deck, Frank Robinson. 3-2 again. Got it inside. Walked him. That's the second Baltimore batter to get a base on ball. The first off Clay Carroll, of course. And here's Frank Robinson, who has been thwarted the first 3 times up against his former club, a team that you know he would like to do well against. Strike, outside corner, knee high. Robinson played in 1,502 games for the Cincinnati Reds, second only to Vada Pinson, who played in 1,565. That was before he was traded, of course. Off-speed curveball. And I have to think that curve did fool Frank. Boog Powell at first. Two strikes to him. And he is dangerous with 2 strikes. Don't make a mistake. Foul tip out of the mitt of Johnny Bench. Foul ball. Count stays, 2 strikes.
There's a lesson in character and perseverance for all you young people looking in. Jay Mazzoni lost both hands in a fire when he was a little boy, and he's one of the top fat boys in the major leagues for the Orioles.
Ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Sometimes when you have a headache or an upset stomach and you don't feel so hot, that's what you need to look at. Think about it. Jay Mazzone picking it up. Tremendous. 1 ball, 2 strikes to the dangerous Frank Robinson. Boog Powell at first, 2 out. Top of the 8th, 4-3 Baltimore. Strike 3 call. No runs, no hits. A man walked left on in the 8th inning for Baltimore. So, at the end of 7 1/2 innings, it's Baltimore 4, Cincinnati 3.
Tomorrow on NBC following the World Series at 4 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Boston, Joe Kapp will see some action tomorrow at Kansas City. Baltimore at Houston. The surprise team in the American Conference, the Denver Broncos, playing at Oakland. Check the local listings for the game in your area. Last of the 8th inning, Jim.
Jim Palmer would like to complete another one. Lee May takes inside, ball 1. There's Mr. Frank Dale, the president of the Cincinnati Reds. Directly behind him, the man in the glasses, Bob Housen, the Reds general manager, is Chub Feeney, and National League President Emeritus, Mr. Warren Giles, all seated behind the Reds dugout. Down in the bullpen for Cincinnati, right-hander, left-hander. And in the Baltimore bullpen, right-hander, left-hander, is May. Bounces one to Belanger at short. And is an easy out at first. One away for the Reds in the 8th inning.
The first time May hasn't hit the ball hard today. Single in the first, hit a home run in the 3rd. Robbed of an extra base hit by Brooks Robinson in the 6th.
Right, he's hit it hard. Bernie Carbo has walked twice and lined out for Robinson at 3rd base. Bernie has collected 2 of the 4 walks off Palmer. Jim had 17 complete games this year for the Orioles. He's third in the league. Carbo fouls one back. Only with Mike Cuellar, who had 21, and Sam McDowell of Cleveland, who had 19, completed more starts than this fellow, Jim Palmer. There's a strike call. 0-2 to Carbo. Down in the bullpen for the Reds, a left-hander is Don Gullett, and Davey Concepcion is playing pitch and catch. That's caught by Robinson at third again. Twice Carbo has hit it right off the end of the bat and right to Robinson at third.
Well, you know why they call Brooks Robinson the human vacuum.
That's right.
What quick reflexes he has. A must for a major league third baseman.
Some kind of fielder. Tommy Helms with 1 for 3, a single in the 6th inning, which is he fouls one back. The only hit that Palmer has given up since May's homer in the 3rd was Helms' single on hit and run in the 6th inning. So he settled down from the 3rd inning on, has just done a great job. Only 2 hits since the 1st inning, in fact. Time call. Helms stepped away from the plate just as Palmer was ready to let it go. 2 men are out in the last half of the 8th inning. Baltimore leads 4-3. Game 1, World Series, 1970. Left center. Both of them are there, and Blair makes the catch, and that retires the Reds in the 8th. Nothing across. So at the end of 8 innings, it's Baltimore 4, Cincinnati 3.
It's been...
Bring me the Commissioner of Baseball. Mr. Commissioner, pretty good play by this fella, hitting.
I tell you, it's as good a play at third base as I've ever seen. I didn't believe he could make it. It was a very key play because it's followed by 2 hits.
Quite an exciting first game of the World Series.
It's a terrific game. They're beautifully matched teams, and it's showing up just that way.
Mr. Commissioner, thank you so much. Let's go back upstairs.
Okay, Tony.
The gentleman that the commissioner was talking about, Brooks Robinson, at the plate, fouls off the first pitch, strike 1.
And he was voted by the Baltimore fans last year as the greatest player in the history of the Orioles. You can see why, the way he's performed today.
Yes, sir, Kurt. A home run and some great plays at third base. Carroll misses. Ball 1, 1 ball, 1 strike. Ball 2. As you can see, the shadows of the stadium have begun to creep out and now engulf the batter, catcher, and home plate umpire. 2-2. And the pitcher is throwing out of that bright sunshine.
That makes it tough for the hitter.
You bet. Three strikeouts for Clay Carroll as Robinson is caught looking. 1 out in the 9th inning. Elrod Hendricks, who hit a home run in the 5th inning that tied up the game. Pulled it down the right field line. Tall, angular, good power. Strike call.
Looking ahead to the Reds' last of the 9th, Cheney, a switch hitter leading off, then the pitcher Carroll, and then Pete Rose.
1-1, 1 ball, 1 strike. I have to think Earl Weaver will have the bullpen warm. 2 strikes. And if Mr. Palmer needs any help at all, he can get all he needs. 1-2. Broke it in the dirt, a bouncer. Not too many hits, only 11 in the game, 6 for the Orioles, 5 for the Reds, but they have been exciting hits. Struck him out. Clay Carroll getting his 4th strikeout. 2 away, and Davey Johnson. Nice play. Clanton, Alabama, hometown. Now lives in Bradenton, Florida.
Jim, 11 Orioles have struck out. They're still leading.
That's right. Funny game sometimes. Johnson takes a fall strike. Say one thing for Clay Carroll, except for Boog Powell, on whom he worked, you know, a little fine. He's pitched great baseball. There's a ball in the dirt. He's been throwing strikes, I got to say that. Nolan struck out 7. Carroll has 4 strikeouts. Each Cincinnati pitcher walked once and takes a call strike. Say one thing for Clay Carroll, except for Boog Powell, on whom he worked, you know, a little fine. He's pitched great baseball. There's a ball in the dirt. He's been throwing strikes, I got to say that. A little high, ball 2.
Follow that odd pattern you were talking about. Not a Cincinnati batter has struck out.
Isn't it funny? Palmer has been a real good strikeout artist. That's out of play down the right field line. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two. That's in there. Right center. Tolan cuts it off. Here, he bobbles the ball, trying for 2. Johnson, saved at second base.
Hustling base running by Davey Johnson, and he had his eye on the ball as he rounded first, which made it possible for him to get in there.
I think they've ruled that a double all the way, Kurt, but we'll wait and see. Mark Belanger will be the batter with the runner at second, and he'll walk him intentionally to get to the pitcher. An intentional walk to Mark Belanger. This is one I think they ought to have a space on your scorecard for bases on balls charged to the manager. Still no ruling that could be a hit and an error. It's the second hit off Clay Carroll and the 7th in the game for the Orioles. And now with the intentional walk to Belanger, Baltimore has 2 men on, 2 men out, and here's Palmer. The official scorers are Bob Hunter of the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, who is the national chairman of the Baseball Writers Association of America, Bob Hertzel of the Cincinnati Enquirer, and Jim Elliott of the Baltimore Sun. Swing and a miss. 1 strike to Palmer. He struck out twice and grounded out. But with 2 on and 2 out here in the 9th inning, this is where he wants to get a hit. That would really help his own cause. Pops it up. Short right. Helms. May. Rose calls him off it and takes it for the 3rd out. In the 9th for Baltimore, no runs a hit and 2 men left. And so at the middle of the 9th inning, it's Baltimore 4, Cincinnati 3.
Now on DVD, it's MLB Bloopers, the funny side of baseball. Get ready for all the hits, misses, and some things we just can't explain. Jam-packed with pranks.
Pinch hit, he'll be batting left. Angel Bravo, another left-hander, has come out on deck to hit for Carroll. And then Pete Rose, and here's Jim Palmer, the last of the 9th.
First pitch is cut on, missed by Stu. Jimmy, a switch hitter, was the leading pinch hitter for the Cincinnati Reds in 1970. He had 13 for 41, 317, and takes ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Sparky Anderson of the Reds is going to the bench in the 9th inning. The Orioles lead by 1, have the bullpen busy as Palmer fires. Strike 2 call. Watt and Rickert are in the bullpen for Baltimore. Watt a right-hander, Rickert a left-hander. That's Watt on the left and Rickert on your right. 2-2 pitch. Foul away. Palmer, after he's settled down following that rocky beginning in the 1st inning, has been some kind of pitcher.
Like the prize ring, you get them on their ropes and don't put the kill in, let them get away. Sometimes they gather momentum.
Struck him out, and that's his first strikeout of the game. And he gets pinch hitter Jimmy Stewart, and here's Angel Bravo. Little Angel, obtained by Bob Haslam in a trade for Jerry Rigo from the Chicago White Sox. He led the Pacific Coast League in batting last year. He's been strictly a pinch hitter for the Reds, played only a couple of 3 games in the outfield. He hit .310 as a pinch hitter this year with 13 for 42. They'll swing around toward left and play him to punch the ball. He's a little punch and Judy hitter. And chokes up on the bat. Rarely pulls the ball to the right side. 1 out in the 9th inning. Palmer and the Birds smell a victory. Good, high, hard one.
You can see in these last 2 innings, that ball coming out of that bright sun into the shadows, they don't seem to be picking up the ball as they did earlier in the game, the hitters.
That's a little bit high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now Bravo wants the pine tar right.
Well, I don't know how this one's going to come out, Jim. It's not over yet, but the Orioles set an American League record this past year in winning 1-run games. They won 40 and lost only 15. They've been tough in these close ones.
Yes, sir. The Reds were 28 and 15 in 1-run decisions. Kurt, I'll tell you, Hugh McDermott and Alan Roth up here, for me, have just been tremendous. Strike 2, let her high, fastball. Sparky Anderson with George Sugar, the fellow in the jacket. Sparky's right-hand man in the dugout. Bravo strikes out, and Palmer is rearing back and throwing and playing a little hardball right now. Pete Rose will try to keep the Reds alive. He has not had a hit today, gone none for 4. There's the season figures. Up high. $51,531 on hand for the first game. 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes. The Reds have Don Gullett throwing again down the right field line. And the Oriole bullpen stays alive. Rickert and Eddie Watt. Watt and Rickert. They're loose. They watch the game. 3-0 to Pete Rose. Next would be Bobby Tolan. Missed with it, ball 4, and Rose was taking that on shoulder. That's the 5th walk, and here's Earl Weaver bouncing out of the Oriole dugout, headed for the mound. 5 walks off Jim Palmer. Now, you have to know Palmer wants to finish this game, and I think Weaver would like to see him finish, but 1-run lead, he's going to bring in his left-hander from the bullpen.
Well, he didn't like the way Palmer threw those 4 balls in a row to Rose. He was way out of the strike zone. Taking no chances. He wants to go for the percent and pitch the left-hander against the left-hander.
You're right, Kurt. Now there's a break in the action here at Riverfront Stadium. The score is Baltimore 4, Cincinnati 3. All right, it's Bobby Tolan with Rose at first and 2 out in the 9th inning, last half. Pete Rickert, the left-hander, on the mound with a pitch to Tolan. Caught by Belanger, and the game ends. Handle hit right off the end of the bat 1, right to Mark Belanger. Rickert comes in, makes 1 pitch, and wraps up game 1 of the 1970 World Series. In the inning, no runs. 1 man left on, Pete Rose, who drew a base on balls, and the Orioles have taken the lead in the 1970 series, winning the first game 5-4.